What's happening, everybody? This your boy Chris Cross. I wanted to jump in here and give you an MMA update. A couple things happening today. Number one, and we kind of heard the rumblings of this a couple days ago, but now Forbes is reporting on it, and it seems like it's getting louder and louder. So let's discuss it. And quite honestly, I was just thinking of this the other day. I was like, could Amanda Nunes possibly come back? Because you got Pena fighting Harrison. Harrison likely wins that fight, but even if Pena wins, that's a fight that Nunes uh, feels very strongly that she can win again, right? I mean, she beat her last time out, dominated her. But like I said, Kayla Harrison is probably going to win that fight at UFC 316. That fight coming, what is it, in June? So then you're looking at, uh, especially if Kayla Harrison beats her pretty quick, potentially a fight happening in October, November, and maybe even December where Amanda Nunes returns. And she was just not inducted, but announced that she'll be going into the Hall of Fame. If you missed that at UFC 314, that happened live during the pay-per-view. So she's heading into the Hall of Fame. And while this is all happening, and of course she's got tears streaming down her face, I'm sitting there like, Nunes looks stronger than ever. Maybe it's because she doesn't have to cut weight. Uh, she's got some time to relax now. Her life is probably, whenever you're constantly fighting and trying to defend belts and win belts. It's like you're in a constant state of training. I go through this with my track team sometimes. Like we got to meet every week. We're in a constant uh, training to get ready for the meet this week. Then next week there's another meet, and you can't really totally all out train because you don't want to be sore heading into a fight or a competition. But right now we're on spring break and we set ourselves up to where we don't have a track meet for 2 or 3 weeks, so we're just getting after it right now. And this is what Amanda Nunes has probably been able to do during this time off. Just really get back to training, not have to worry about getting ready for a fight and all those type of things that takes a toll on your body. So she's probably feeling good. And you might think like Nunes is like 38, 39. She's only 36, which I've noticed in the women's divisions that the prime age is actually older, especially where the women's divisions don't have that, isn't deep yet. The divisions aren't that deep. And a lot of these fighters are peaking between like 35 and 37. You start to see them slow down at late 37, early 38. They slow down a little bit. Nunes is only 36 years old. So she's right there still in the prime. And a fight between her and Kayla Harrison is going to be ridiculous if that's the way that this thing turns out. If it's Pena, you know, that's a consolation prize. But, you know, you still get the return of Nunes saying in a post-fight media scrum at UFC 314, I'm ready to go, more or less. I'm back and ready to go, is what Nunes is saying at that press conference. So, that's big news, and I'm not surprised one bit. I'm not surprised at all. Moving forward, Khabib Nurmagomedov says welterweight champ Belal Muhammad's cardio may be the best in the UFC. What do you expect him to say, right? Do you expect Khabib to say, his cardio is terrible? He's the welterweight champ right now. He's in that camp. But I'm not going to say that Khabib is lying either, because the way that Belal Muhammad has looked over the last few fights since being with that camp, he's on a whole different level. The takedown game has really allowed him to surge to the top and just dominate the division right now. Now, Machado Gary is going to be a tough fight. Or, excuse me, Jack Della Maddalena. I was like, Machado Gary, I know he's not fighting for the title. Yeah, Jack Della Maddalena, excuse me. But if he gets past that, that's what I'm thinking. Then he's got Machado Gary, or really it should be Shavkat, who beat Ian Gary. So it's only going to get tougher. But, you know, if he's training with Khabib, I'm saying that his cardio's at an all-time high. I'm saying that his fight game is at its all-time best right now. He's even better now than we probably saw him against Leon Edwards, which he looked really good in that fight. So this is a scary individual training with some of the baddest dudes on the planet. So yeah, that's what it is. Now, Ilia Topuria went on to Joe Rogan's podcast the other day, and he's discussing what it's going to take for him to fight, as if these fighters hold all the cards. Ilia Topuria gave up the featherweight title because if you want to pursue a title in another division, you got to give up the belt. That's what it seems like is happening now. But now he's not getting the title fight. And now he's probably feeling some kind of way because now he's seeing Volkanovski walking around with his belt, excuse me, knowing that he absolutely obliterated and dominated Volkanovski. So now he's like, well, why'd I give up that belt if I'm in holding and you're not letting me fight for this other belt? And the tough thing is that the only person who holds any cards is the champion, right? Islam could deny fights all year long if he wanted to. The UFC's got to offer him 3. He could deny him. The UFC needs Islam Makhachev to fight, so Islam might just be saying, no, I don't want to fight Topuria. Who knows what's happening on the inside? But Topuria seeing Volkanovski win his belt while he's on hold and has no fight to look forward to, that's probably causing some problems inside his mind. He's probably thinking to himself, excuse me, what did I do here? Why did I give up that belt if I'm not getting a title fight? So now he's making demands. And the UFC doesn't do well with demands. The UFC's like, that's just not going to work. So if the UFC, because of Islam, says, hey, you got to fight, and if you're Islam, there's nothing wrong with you being that way. I mean, it's to be expected, right? Maybe he fights Charles Oliveira and he gets beat by Oliveira. You never have to face him. Maybe he fights Arman Sarukian, who Dana White does not want to fight for the title right now, right? It's kind of like Magomed Ankalaev in a light heavyweight. He's not going to let you fight right now unless you dust off some people. So if you're Islam, it's like, yeah, go fight Oliveira, go fight Arman Sarukian. If you get past them, then we'll talk. And it's not even that he hopes that those guys beat him necessarily, because he's going to have to fight the winner regardless. But it's like, okay, I'm pretty confident I could beat Charles Oliveira. This is what Islam's probably thinking. Now, if Islam could beat Topuria, I never have to worry about Topuria because that could be a rough, matchup potentially. Because you're dealing with another striker like yourself that could KO you at any time. It's a very tough situation. So go fight Oliveira. Not like you're buying yourself some time. There's a chance that Oliveira can win that fight. Then you can fight Oliveira again, knowing that there's a strong likelihood that you're going to beat him. So that's kind of what's probably, if I had to guess, all speculation, of course. No one knows what's going on the inside. Even when the fighters tweet, you don't know if that's the truth. It is what it is. But this is likely what's probably happening behind the scenes, and Topuria is getting frustrated because it makes you feel some type of way that you see some other dude that you dominated walk around with your title, and you vacated the title to fight for the title in a division above. So, you know, being a Khamzat Chimaev fan first and foremost, thinking he's the best fighter on the planet right now, having to wait 5 years to see him fight for the title, it is what it is. This is what's happening. The best fighters aren't always fighting for the title, and the champion's going to duck and dodge these guys, unless your name is Dricus du Plessis. Much props to Dricus, who has said, bring on, he's the only one that said, bring on Hamza right now. I want to fight him now. I don't want to fight Sean Strickland. I want to fight Hamza. Okay. And still Hamza didn't get the fight. So this is what's happening. It's not always going to be the best fighter. It's going to be what the UFC wants. They're going to try to force the issue, and it's their business. They can do what they want to do. It is what it is. Then you got to deal with the champ of each division who's like, nah, I don't want to fight that guy. Nah, I'll turn down that fight. Well, the UFC kind of needs you because they got 12 different pay-per-views throughout the year. In most cases, they want 2 title fights. So everybody's got to fight once and hopefully twice throughout the year for it to make sense. And Therefore, the UFC kind of needs the champs too. So the champs are in a little bit of position of power. They have some negotiating power, and it makes things very interesting. This is why it takes some time to book these fights. But these are some of the top 3 topics happening right now. Nothing big. UFC 314 just got over with, right? Things kind of dip and die down. And then as we roll into next week, they'll start to spring forward back up as we got 4 straight weeks of UFC fights. So we just want to get on here and, update you to what's going on. Until next time, this is your boy Chris Cross. Have a great day. God bless. As always, peace.